Hello everybody, I'm Melissa and welcome back to Book Bar and welcome to another seasonal book recommendation. Actually, last year was my first ever fall book rec video, or seasonal recommendation video with fall book recs, so I'll have that linked above. And these are book recs that aren't necessarily like Halloween themed or like spooky. They're more just fun Halloween or fun fall vibes. Some might have creatures, but for the most part, they're books that just make me think fall when I look at them or when I read them. We're just going to go ahead and get on into it, starting with the first one, which is Business Casual by B.K. Borison. This is the fourth book in the Love Light Farm series. Each book, it kind of coincides with a season. So Love Light Farms is wintertime, Christmas, takes place on a Christmas tree farm. Mixed Signals is spring, flowers, new things falling, or new growth, new life, lots of baby animals. And then Mixed Signals, no, In the Weeds is spring, Mixed Signals is summer. And then the last book is Business Casual, which is more of like the fall time, fall vibes, takes place in the fall. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. This follows Nova and Charlie is the heroine Stella from book one's brother, half-brother. They share the same father. And Nova is Beckett from book two, his little sister. And Beckett has always believed in Nova, but Nova like struggles with kind of imposter syndrome. Doesn't ever say it's imposter syndrome, but she feels it. Like the way that she is kind of feels very imposter syndrome-like. And Charlie is living in New York and hates his life. Like, he really just doesn't love living in New York. And he goes to Love Light Farms all the time. Like, he says it's for his family. He doesn't even see Stella the time he's there. He's just wanted to be part of the town. He gets upset when he's not part of the phone tree. And it's just adorable. And I loved it. And of course, it's them, like, finding their way to each other and learning that they can trust in each other. And it was absolutely amazing. Then the second book I have is, last year I said rock stars make me think fall. I don't know what it is about it, but rock star romances scream fall to me. And the first book in the series was on my fall TBR. Now, the next book is Take My Hand by Michae Marie. This book, the cover, very fall vibes, fall-like cover. And of course, rock stars just scream fall to me. And this follows Hayden and Carter. And I suggest reading the series in order, but Hayden and Carter are both. Hayden is part of Whispering Nothing's band, and Carter is the photographer. And in the first book, something happens and Hayden sticks up for her, and they kind of form a really close friendship from that. And then, of course, the friendship turns to more. And there is a scene with a mirror, and oh, loved it. Like, I think about this book all the time. It is so good. And yeah, so that is book number 2. Then book number 3, again, like just more the cover gives me fall vibes, and that is Here With Me by Samantha Young. This is Robin and Lachlan Adair, and I didn't realize how thick this book is. Like, when I read it, I did not realize how thick it is. But this is the first book in the Adair family series, which this whole series then sparked the spin-off of the Highland series, which is the series she's writing right now. And so Robin goes to kind of become closer to her dad. Her dad was a very young father and kind of took the easy way out and like left her to be raised by her mother and her stepfather. And she was happy. She was fine. She got to see him, and he was kind of like an older brother to her. Well, now she's like older and she wants to connect with him more. So she goes to the Scottish Highlands and stays on the, I can't think of the Ardnach. Stays at Ardnach, and her and Lachlan kind of have a rocky start to their relationship because Lachlan thinks that she she didn't talk to her father for a while. He thinks that it was all Robin's fault, but I mean, Robin was just a child, and so yeah, of course they strike up a friendship and a bond as things go. And then there's like a little bit of a suspense plot, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. Definitely one that you should pick up. This whole series was fun. Obviously, it wasn't it's not my favorite. I think there were more like lows than there were, although like the lows weren't low, like 3 stars, but there were more lows than there were highs. But I still definitely think, like, if you've read the Highland series, it's fun to go back and read this series. Then, of course, fall means football, so I have to have a football romance. And, of course, I'm going to go with Gridlocked on the Gridiron by Denton. This is Lucia and Colton. This has been one of my favorite football romances, but it's underrated. So, of course, I'm going to suggest it anytime I can. This is Lucia and Colton, and Lucia is engaged to this guy until it turns out that he has been cheating on her. And she ends up getting fired from the team that she's working with because he is the quarterback of that team, and can't lose a quarter. You can lose an analyst, you can't lose a quarterback. So she ends up actually, like, she doesn't really, like, the team knows that she's valuable, so they actually find her a spot with another team. So she goes to this other team. Happens to be Colton's team, and Colton happens to be her ex's, like, they were rivals in college. And so they kind of end up fake dating as like a way to kind of get back at her ex, and also to make it seem like, because there was a lot of like negative press around her after all of this, so after everything with her ex, so they fake date, and it was just absolutely so much fun. There is a scene on the plane that lives rent free in my brain and will live there probably forever. So yeah, definitely one that gives all those fall vibes because football season. Then we have a historical that gives me fall vibes just based off of the cover, and that is Nobody's Duke by Scarlett. Again, like the oranges, the browns, the darker reds very much give me fall vibes, and that is this book. Also, like, this book's a little bit darker in terms of like historicals. It's a little grittier, so it has that little bit that makes me think more fall like. This follows Ara and Clayton, and Ara and Clayton were together, they loved each other, they were in love like 7 years ago, and they were going to run away together because he is the bastard son of a duke, and she is the daughter of a marquess or something, some sort of lady, and they were going to run away together, and something happened that kept them apart. They both blamed the other one. That wasn't why. You learn why as time goes on. And she ended up marrying a different duke. Well, that duke was murdered. And now Clayton has to basically be her bodyguard and protect her, while Ara is keeping many secrets from him. And of course, they're still madly in love with each other. They would never admit it, but they are. And so things are going to happen. And yeah, I loved it. And it's definitely, like, the cover is very much fall. Then we have a darker romance, and that is Serpentine Valentine by Giana Darling. This follows Lex and Luna, and Lex is actually, this is a Medusa retelling, and Lex is R-worded on Halloween, so it does have that time period. And now it's like 6 months later, and she's back and the school doesn't believe her when she says this. It is true, and they might know more than they're letting on and let everyone believe that she's lying. Of course, she is not. And now 6 months later, she has returned to school and has vowed to take revenge on the professor and the school, especially the school's like principal, headmaster type person who she looked up to and had a fond relationship with. So she's like, I'm gonna get back at her. I'm gonna date her daughter and ruin her daughter. And that is exactly what she does to Luna Palace. But of course, Luna is interested in Lex and doesn't find it. Doesn't think that she's ruining her. And, you know, it's very good. I loved this, and definitely gives you that fall vibes. I feel like retellings, in a sense, are more like cozy fall. I mean, this is not a cozy story, but they just like make me want to curl up with a book during a rainstorm and like make me think fall. Then we have Blood and Steel by Helen Scheurer. Fantasy romances really just give me all of the fall vibes. They're books that I want to stay in and binge and read when it's cozy and I have a good blanket and a cup of tea. And Blood and Steel is the start of one of my favorite series that I've read so far this year. And, well, one of my favorite fantasy romances this year is a companion novel to that series, but I don't want to recommend that one just on its own. I do think that it is best read as part of the Blood and Steel series. Plus, I just have a feeling that the series is going to end fantastic. and there's another spin-off series coming. So yeah, this follows Wilder and Thea. And Thea has, she has known her fate. She knows that she is supposed to die when she is 27. And she wants to be a, basically like a guardian of the realm. And she wants to be a shield maiden. Is that what it's called? I don't know. But basically she wants to wield a sword and kill the Shadow Wraiths and help her community. Well, there is a prophecy foretelling that if a woman wields a sword or blade, that the world will basically end. And she doesn't care about that. She just wants to wield a sword and become a guardian, whatever. And so she does what she can. And part of that is becoming a mentee of one Wilder Hawthorne. And they have a very back and forth relationship. And there are secrets. There are lies. There's a lot going on. And I have only read books 1 and 2. I need to continue. And then the companion novel, Slaying the Shadow Prince. I need to continue. But I love it. It is fantastic and definitely worth the read. And very much gives the fall vibes. Then another fantasy romance. This one has witches. And this is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is actually a YA fantasy romance. And it's very much like tropey, very predictable in terms of like the witch and the witch hunter type of vibes. But it was so good. And I like binged this all in one day. So basically this follows Rune and Gideon. And Rune is a witch, and she is known as the Crimson Moth, which happens to be the other title of the book. Like in the UK, it's called the Crimson Moth. In the US, it's called Heartless Hunter. But she's the Crimson Moth, and she saves witches. But that is only after she condemned her own grandmother to die because she said she was a witch. You find out why, you find out the reasonings, but yeah. She plays up this like vapid young girl just caring about getting a husband in the ton type of world. And yeah, so this had not only historical vibes, which really give me like historical romance vibes, which really scream fall time to me. It had witches, which again, fantasy romances scream fall, and witches, Halloween, scream fall. This basically is fall in a book. Like it just, everything about it screamed fall. Like all of the vibes were very fall. But yeah, so she ends up catching the eye of Gideon. And Gideon has been trying to hunt down the Crimson Moth, because the Crimson Moth keeps capturing or keeps rescuing the people that he is trying to basically unalive, because they're witches and he hates witches. And yeah, of course, then the cat and mouse game of the witch and the witch hunter and them getting closer in real life and not realizing that he's after her. She's trying to evade him. They might both realize a little bit too late. Things happen. Yeah, very good. And even though it's YA, it didn't feel super YA. Then another one that had another fantasy romance that has like creatures that are very fall, and that is Blood Mercy by Vella Roth. This, I have only read book 1. I only read Blood Mercy, but this is Leo and Cassia, and Leo is a Hesperine, which is basically a vampire-like creature, and Cassia is the bastard daughter of the king. And her and Leo strike up a friendship because it's like every 100 years, the two people come together to try to basically make a treaty to keep peace between the Hesperines and humans. And they end up forming a bond that you can't deny. And of course, there is a feeding scene, which I think I talked about in last year's video when I recommended Serpentine Millions of Night, is like one of my favorite intimate moments between couples. Especially like when, that's why I love like vampire like romances, because you have that. And yes. And then the final book I'm going to recommend is again creatures, and that is For a Ride by Ali Hazelwood. This is a wolf shifter and a vampire, and Misery and Lowe are the two, the hero and the heroine. Lowe is the head of the like wolves, and Misery is the daughter of like the head of the vampires, and she was living with like the humans and something happened and now she's back with the vampires and they're like, actually, just kidding, you're gonna marry the alpha and go live with him. And of course, he gets one sent of her and realizes she's different. So things go from there. It's fantastic. Of course, it's fated mates. It's shifters. It is not Omegaverse, but there is terms used in here that are interesting if you haven't read shifter romances. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I read it when I did. And I definitely think it fits very much the fall vibes, vampires, werewolves, all of that gives fall. And yeah, so those are the 10 books that I have that are fall recommendations. And of course, I have 4 that are on my TBR. I think last year I have read only one of them, and that was with Take You Down by Michae. I think I still have the other three on my TBR. Maybe that's like a fall romance reading vlog or something. I don't know. But now we're going to get into the 4 additional ones on my TBR. And the first one is the Pumpkin Spice Café by Laurie Gilmore. This, again, just, it is fall. Like, it's fall in a book. Everything I've heard about it. It's cozy fall vibes. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Then we have Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder. Small town, romantic suspense, very much give me fall vibes, which I could have done a Catherine Carl's book. She gives me fall, but her covers also very much scream like spring, summer to me. So I like to recommend them in seasons that don't necessarily give me the vibes, but the covers give me the vibes. So Bourbon and Lies, but Bourbon and Lies is very much a fall cover. It's romantic suspense. I tend to want to drink more like hard liquor, have like a hot toddy at night, bourbon, hot chocolate type stuff in the fall. So it's perfect for that. Then we have The Body in the Bookstore by Ellie Alexander. I want to get into cozy mysteries so bad because I think they're just so fun. I've read quite a few that I really enjoy, but I tend to like avoid them because I just want to read romance and I need to get out of that because I do really enjoy cozy mysteries and fall is the time to read cozy mysteries. Some of my best reading experiences have been curled up reading a cozy mystery and like reading it in like one day because that's just what cozies like give me is like you want to keep reading. And so yeah, that is on there. And then the last one is The Witch and the Cowboy. Again, small town, witches, just give fall vibes, of course. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what are some books on your fall TBR or books that just scream fall for you. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave me some sort of fall leaf emoji. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. I'll talk to you all in the next one.